Hello. One of the nicest things about I feel like switching over to the model where like each one of these are going to be posted a year from recording is I feel like you can be a little more you can be more honest and you can be more vulnerable. I like that. And I like that even if I die, these will be posted at least for one more year, which is cool. Um so yeah, I'm about to leave Videodea and head over to One All in 3 days. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to just getting out of here and kind of moving on with um, the journey. See what comes up next. Be challenged by new challenges. Meet new people. I'm excited to meet new people. I met some amazing people here. I'm very appreciative for this experience. But I'm definitely ready for the next step. And I think thinking about this like feeling of being ready for the next step. You have to either change your role in the environment that you're in. So I'm thinking about DC because I didn't have that feeling of like I'm ready to leave until the very end. And a big part of that is because the second year was very different from the first year in that the second year I started doing the moving around thing. The first year I did really, living with Anthony, having all my friends come over. I mean, a very different year. Each one, what I feel like were, even though the one constant was that I was going to school and my work was the same, I feel like there were two very vastly different worlds that I was kind of navigating. And so um, it didn't give me that feeling of like, okay, I want to move on, I want to move to the next thing. But I think when something can be so repetitive, or that there's not this sense of like, I'm learning something new, which has nothing to do with the environment. In fact, I didn't really go out into the villages. I didn't put myself in an environment where I could be learning something new every day, right? Challenge wise, the last big challenge I took on was a hike that I went with Dr. Shard. But I feel like since then, like, no, like, I haven't really challenged myself in maybe 5, 6, 7 days. And so it has been a little more repetitive. But repetition can't, forever be like this feeling of like, I can't do it. I don't know. Maybe it can. It's okay for it to be that. I just been more insecure recently. Say my name, say my name. Oh, my shoulder. I'm curious if it's because I don't do these often that I like lose the ability to do them well, or in a few. It's been maybe like three of these since I was in Trichy. I don't think I did one that was like half decent, maybe, but just in terms of like really reflecting, I haven't been able to give it my all, and I'm not really sure why that is. I have a few hunches, but yeah, I feel like I've lost connection with that part of myself. So I guess like maybe another approach to do is like take a particular experience and just break it down instead of like being more like broad over, okay, well, these 3 months all these happened. All the conversations I've had with Akansh, I've been learning how to say it. Akanksha has been interesting. Man, okay, so like with traveling, I think that's a crazy thing. I mean, even, you meet these people that leave this imprint on your brain. So, for example, my relationship with Fahad, Fahad, Akanksha, with Sandra, with Dr. Sharad, with Amiti, with Sakshi, with forgot the other girl's name, with Monish, with Anand, with um, Rahul. Not Rahul, so but everyone else, like I just feel like it's so unique that you like deeply get entwined into people's lives and then you just disconnect. You know, last year it was with Manuel, with Agnesi. You know, I mean, all those. Damn, it was crazy. In Europe, there was those two girls that I like hung out with a decent amount. Like, it's a little wild how this stuff can kind of happen, where it's like you have these amazing experiences, and then, but this has been rehashed enough times, I think, just of like, whoa, it's so cool, so many experiences. Well, you've definitely talked about that enough, I think, with yourself. That it's like, okay, and then what? Uh, it's cool the first 3 times you say it, but then after that, it's like, okay, there's a lot of experiences. I guess it's just like the vastness and how different they can be. That's so like, how is it possible that we are capable of experiencing such extremes that can sometimes be like wild? You know, if I was to like, someone was asking, yeah, I feel like if I was to split my life into like different versions of being, I would say there's a version of me until I met Sanjeev. So until I would say there's a version of me until I turned 5, which is primarily influenced by Amapa Mama. Then there was a version of me until the 5th grade that was influenced by Aditya, Yash, Anirudh, those guys. Then from 6th grade until 8th grade, that was heavily influenced by Sanjeev, Tejas, Shivani, you know, Miraj. Then from 9th grade to 12th grade, I was heavily influenced by the group. Um, Even, yeah, I guess people even like Rahul Makajani, um, Noni. I mean, just the person that I was then was heavily influenced by those individuals. Um, you know, as a freshman, Rahul Patel, hella funny. But yeah, and so you know, the group primarily though, and then I got to college, and then no, first 2 years was all Dan, Umar, Azita, um, and then the last 2 years were, um, last 2 years were kind of like that's when I first started being more alone. But that's when I really like, you know, my friendship with Mylan, uh, Vishu, PK, Yusuf, um, you know, those people really influenced me those last 2 years. The first two, I would also throw Teak in there, Rookie, you know, all the people I met through that, the fraternity. The last 2 years were a lot more like by myself. Mylan's friendship changed my life. And then it was like the 6 months when you know, before I took the GRE, those 6 months when I lived in Putnam, so Tauntaun, John, all of those people really influenced my life then. Ariana. Okay, then I finished the GRE, then I came back home. That was for the next year before I went to college. That's when I traveled. So I was heavily influenced by, you know, I lived with Murad, I lived with Deep and Sanjeev. Deep influenced me a lot then. I lived with Mahesh, I lived with Mama, I lived at home. I went back to San Diego for Thanksgiving and did Vegas with them. So yeah, so there was like many different periods, Mexico City again, in that, you know, 8 months or whatever, where I feel like um, a lot had happened, I think. But that was, you know, again, more alone. And then I did the road trip, came to DC, and then in DC I was heavily influenced that first year by Ellis, by Arden, heavily by Arden, insanely by Arden, a lot by Ellis, a lot by Abenezer. And then that year ended and the next year began. The next year was heavily influenced by just like my moving, the people that I met through the moving, um, Europe. It was more alone. All of second year of DC was a very cerebral, alone experience. That was challenging in many ways. But yeah, I didn't leave DC. Srujana, huge. Oh my god, yeah, second year Srujana. I cannot believe we became friends December, no, like November or October of second year, right? And then it was only those 8, 7, 8 months changed my life. So then after that, this second half has been primarily influenced by my trip in India and by Saba, and these two people have influenced me a lot. And I feel like if you were to partition different parts of your life, like now we're transitioning into kind of this like post Saba period. I feel like this is a new version of me now, who now has to embrace again the solitude of the version in DC, but with the wisdom and the kind of understanding of the difficulties that come with, partnership. And so kind of, merging those two together, I feel like is now the new era. And so I feel like the second half of this India trip is going to be more solitary. Is going to be more, figuring it out. What does it mean to be you? What are the things you want in your life? Really thinking about it. I think this trip in general has really been helping me reflect on that. But I think it hasn't like. I'm waiting for this moment that hits where it's like, oh, this was worth it. Spending 7 months in India was worth it. And I'm not sure if that comes. And so what ends up happening is the way you make it worth it is you have to now drive social value from it. So you got to tell people you went. You got to somehow drive some sort of, it's no longer internal because you're not feeling that internal. So it has to be something external that you try to drive value from. And that's very problematic, I think. Because it doesn't have to be something you walk around going, hey guys, look, I went here. Like I'm so, like you don't have to. I volunteered here. I worked here. Like that's, from the beginning, that was never your intention. Your intention is not to kind of, you're not doing any of this for that. And you need to remember that. But, the thing is like, to find internal kind of, I'm thinking even with Europe, I feel like because it was so segmented into like different parts, I was able to like, oh, okay, England, oh, okay, Italy, then France. It was very like boom, 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 and it was quick, it was short, so it was like a big punch. It was like 3 months, I think, maybe a little, 2 and something, and it was just a big punch, and then I got back to DC, and I was like, oh, let's go. I've been far longer in India than I've already been in Europe, but that hit hasn't come. And I don't know if it's because I haven't gone home enough to reflect on it, or if I haven't seen enough different things for it to feel so massive. Like, every time I move from one place to the next, then I feel that hit of like, oh my god, I'm in India, right? But if I'm in Cuddalore, I'm just talking in English. Even that's a huge thing. I'm very comfortable in my life. I feel like I live here. I've been here for 6 weeks. I really feel like this is home in some ways. And so I've lost that kind of like, oh, I'm in an abroad foreign country. In Europe, I never kind of fell into that rhythm. Even at Cortona, it was 1 week, and then I was like, all right, now it's time to get booted out. It was a lot more like you were a lot more present to the fact every 4 to 5 days you were bouncing to a new city. I mean, that's insane. I can't believe you did that. But it's like, yeah, the lessons that come from that experience have to become something that's like cerebral or something that's like just embedded into your day-to-day like experience of life. Otherwise, it's hard to like remember lessons you've learned. Like I can't remember lessons I learned at going, but I do some. I mean, I was even thinking about like that USC experience, when I was a kid in the sophomore year, my junior year of college, my high school. I can look back and think about it now, but in terms of like, yeah, I can talk about it, but what are the ways in which that's impacted how I live? Like in my day-to-day, how has that experience impacted my day-to-day? But yeah, man, that USC experience was interesting. My first 2 experiences I had surrounding myself with all white people were the cruise ship, first in 8th grade, and then USC 3 years later. And both were very negative. I feel like as many Indian Americans, I think, had this kind of like God complex regarding white people and my relationship to them. And so I was always like, I have to fit in with the whites. I have to be liked by the whites. And in both places, I feel like I was very shunned by the whites. Except at USC, Michelle was awesome. I hope she's doing well. She was always very nice to me and cool. It's interesting. It's like, man, I just got remembered. I mean, I'll share the story just because it's a funny story. So pretty much the day before we left USC, right? The day before, I took a Greyhound for the first time that time too. That was fun. From LA, and it was like just an uncomfortable ride, but fun. It was interesting people I met. So the day before we left, there was this girl. I forgot her name. So I'll just be honest. I mean, it's posted a year later. It doesn't matter. But I had said something really stupid. I remember I used to like think of myself as like this really like, I don't know, provocateur. I don't even know if that's the right word to use, but I used to think of myself as like really sexy. I was like, dude, like, what are you talking about? And so I remember this like girl. I was like, yeah, I can take a bra off with my teeth. Like, it's just so stupid. Like, no, I can't. I have no idea how to do it. Barely do it with my hands. And I had told her, and she's like, whoa, that's so hot. So we like hung out the day before we all left, and we went and like made out in this random place. And I went back home. And I went back to like the dorm. And somehow the news got spread. I don't know how. I didn't tell anyone, somehow. And one of the RAs came up to me and was like, hey, like, oh, there was also that dude from USC who was so awesome. I forgot that one of the guys who worked there when I was there, I forgot his name. He was cool. That was an interesting experience. Yeah, but wow, that just came to mind. I think his name was like David. I had his number. I was texting him for a long time after. But yeah, so the RAs came up to me and was like, dude, I think she has like gonorrhea or something. Like, are you okay? And I got scared. I was like, I don't even know what that is. That's a big word. Let me like Google it. Can it be spread through kissing? Blah, 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 blah. She was like, yeah, we just heard because she had like pill, like those, the other RA said she had those pills. I remember just being super scared. And then like on the internet said it can't be passed. I don't know, it said maybe, but I was like, all right, let's just shoot my shot. And I think I went home and got tested and I was good. But I remember being scared about that. And then, yeah, with Michelle, I remember, some of the random things I remember. Michelle, I remember we were going on a bus trip. The engineering course was sick. We went on a bus trip to like the local sewage, like plant, like sewage plant or something. And on the bus, I like put my head on her shoulder. And then I remember her responding kind of like, not in the bus, stop it. And I just remember being like, damn, I just wanted to sleep. But with Michelle, I remember her like not being super like affectionate, but then like one day it just switched and then she became very affectionate. And then it got awkward after. But I remember that. I remember there was these white guys I like really wanted to be friends with, and they were like the cool ones, and I didn't really enjoy spending time with them, but I really wanted to be around them. And then I remember like I wanted to be really close with a lot of like the black people who went there, and they didn't really like me either. I just remember not really having any friends, but I remember trying very hard. There was one guy who was really nice to me, and we became friends, and he was really sweet, and I feel like he wasn't very like, I'm trying to be cool, and I feel like he accepted me. I totally forgot his name, but I remember his face very vividly. And yeah, I mean, there was the Mexican guys, they didn't really, like, it was just like, it was very like, everyone was very clustered by their race. Like the black guys hung out with the black people, the Mexican people hung out with the Mexican people, the white people hung out with the white people, and I think I was the only Indian kid there. And it was just interesting bouncing around, trying to figure out, do you guys like me? Do you guys like me? Do you guys like me? I remember the RAs, like two of them were really nice and very close with me. One of them was kind of mean, the one who like beat me with, we played 2K and he dogged me. He played with the Timberwolves and he played Zach LaVine. I remember I'm so triggered by that for some reason. He dropped like 50 on me with just Zach LaVine. I was like, bro, who is Zach LaVine? And that was like way before. That was like his rookie or sophomore year. He dogged me. I was like the Cavs or something with LeBron too. He dogged me. It was close, I think, but he beat me by like 8 at the end. And I just remember being like, wow, Zach LaVine, I hate that guy. That was funny. I still remember that, which is funny. So that was a USC experience. I just remember like doing all those trips kind of like with this like expectation of like, oh, I'm gonna show off to people that I like met these girls. Like I remember when me and Sinji went to Hawaii sophomore year of high school, we like made a plan that we would like lie to everyone and tell them we like met hella girls. Like It's just cute. I mean, it's a very like childish thing to do, and it's cute that like I thought that like meant something at that point in my life. But I did that same thing at USC, and that was kind of adorable. And then, what other memories do I have from that? I remember the campus very well. I remember that's when I got introduced to the Boondocks, watched all of Boondocks. I used to eat hella Smarties and just munch on Smarties watching Boondocks. I remember that very clearly. Um, I remember the teacher was really cool. I remember the teacher was dope. We did the engineering class for a month was awesome. I mean, what a privilege to be able to experience something like that. Be on a college campus. I think it was $8,000. I mean, definitely very privileged to be able to have experienced that. Um, but it didn't really make a difference. I mean, I didn't find passion for engineering through that, nor did I. Um, because a lot of that for the first week we had learned in high school, like in my engineering classes, so I didn't even really all like the nodes and like the ors and ands and all the electrical stuff. It was only the second 3 weeks where we did a lot of like trusses, like that stuff. That was all very different for me. That was cool. It was all very interesting stuff. But I just think that like idea of like going to a college campus for $8,000 without any clear understanding of like what it is that you're trying to learn there. I think my parents also just had a tough task in like not fully understanding the US. So like having to understand what is the value of education, where does it play a role, because they were coming from a very different system. And so they now understand the Indian system is so different, and so you can't really copy over. So they're kind of coming into it blind, not really understanding what is and isn't important. And so, like, I don't know, would I send my kids to something like that? No way. I mean, look, if you can't learn for something in an affordable budget, I don't find it worth learning. Like, you can probably find some other resource to learn it. $8,000 is is just not at that age something you need. With $8,000, you can build a business and then learn so much through just like doing that. Like, you don't need to go to this like USC thing. But are there ways to experience like what are the things that I learned? I mean, there was so much I learned. I mean, I lived alone. I mean, there was tons. You know, who knows what the impact of that is? As a 16-year-old, I went and lived alone for a month and had to make a bunch of new friends and had to, you know, I mean, who knows how much that's impacted me. I had to fit myself around all white people. I had to, you know, who knows how much all of those tiny little things helped me. It's hard to identify. So you can't just be like, oh, it wasn't useful because like I didn't, I don't know, remember the engineering from it. It's just, can that experience have been like created using less than $8,000? Probably. Um, it's hard to tell. Like, I think when it comes to like phenomenal mentors, like people who can just like change your life through their teachings, I think depending on how much money I have, I would be willing to pay 100 to 150 per hour. But that's like if I was very wealthy and if it was an amazing mentor. So like my singing teacher, like the lessons my singing teacher taught me, I can't put a number on it. But if I had to, I'd put it in the multi-millions. Like I would, if I had all the money in the world, I would pay if I had, let's say I had $100 million, I'd pay multi-millions for the lessons that he taught me at the age he taught me, because that's going to stick with me for a long time. But I mean, that one, you know, out of all the teachers I've ever had, that's only one who's taught me in that kind of capacity, not just the skill, but the lifestyle behind the skill, the values and principles and philosophy behind the skill. That's very rare. But if you find that, that's worth investing in, I think. So, on that note, let me text Andrew and tell him I would love to meet today for a little bit, at least an hour. Should I? It's Friday. Everyone will be hanging out. Let's meet tomorrow. Yeah, I should work on that. I have a lot to work on, but I'm glad I'm doing this actually. Yeah, it was good. I'm glad I got to say that USC kind of experience out loud. That was a very interesting one. Did I drink? I don't think I drank there. And I don't think I smoked there. I remember one time I went with these two girls because we left outside the campus, which was very rare. They had gotten cigarettes, and I kind of stood far away as they were smoking cigarettes. I remember that, but I don't think I did either of those there. Um, so yeah, so it was an expensive experience. Dude, the amount I volunteered as a kid is crazy. Like 500, 600 hours of like, not even like BS. Like a lot of that was like legitimate volunteering. Like Tomo School, Tech Museum, oh my, all the time I spent at the table tennis camps. Oh my god. I mean, yeah, I feel like I was always busy. I mean, I did so much volunteering. So I did those three. What else did I do? Those. Oh, I did shooting stars. Like significant amount of my time as a child was spent like volunteering, was spent on like doing things, and I feel like even though at that age I did it to like get into college, and that's kind of how it was promoted to me. I feel like the lessons that those things have taught have been massive. I mean, I can't really even pinpoint it, but I mean, yeah, if we were to look at Tech Museum, I have another. Man, that was a dog. Yeah, Tech Museum. I have some experiences, shooting stars, all of them. Ah, man, that's funny. Yeah, I'm kind of actually excited. Maybe like for the next few episodes or whatever of these journals, we could just do a breakdown of like different years of my life and what I do remember and what I don't. Natural memory, no, not hinted by some pictures or not kind of recreated by anything, but really what is still in my brain. And I think like a big part of that is addressing some of the just whatever the things, the thingies, the suckies, all the different like the sucky parts um, of what's happened. But yeah, damn, feels good to have gotten the USC story out. That was like a throwback moment for sure. Mm. It's just hard to know whether like I'll be inspired to like dig the next one, even though I'm feeling inspired for that now. And I guess that's just a part of it. So then the question is, while I'm inspired now, should I do another one? What does my gut say? My gut says yes. My gut says 400% definitely go over one more experience, if not many. But then my other, I don't know, whichever mind is like, it's 2:47 here. I should probably eat lunch by 3. There's another part of me that's like, you should do work. But my gut's like, you should definitely say one more. So let's do one more. Should we talk about one of those volunteering experiences? Like, we could talk about Shooting Stars was a cool experience. So it was basically like the volunteering found, like it's like a tutoring foundation that like tutored these kids just over spring break, would use those funds to like support kids abroad going to school. It was started by Akil Ganti and Ajit, I think. I don't know, Ajit, something like that. I don't even know anymore. And they had also done it for college. It would have been a really good thing. They both got into like UPenn, for one for business and the other for something. But awesome. Akil Ganti was always very intelligent. Like really intelligent. Like not just like I know things, but I don't know. He had a good head on his shoulders as well. So he's like a very kind human. I wonder if he's doing good. Let me actually, on that note, let me reach out to him. I feel like I reached out to him a while back ago, but I really want to see him. I seen Adarsh when I was at UCSD and we caught up. That one time I drove back with him and gave me his bed. He had a great bed for $60. That was a great bed. Um, so shout out for that. But let me see if I ever reached. I feel like I reached out to Akil Ganti at some point or another. Um, let's see what's going on here. Akil Ganti. I would love to catch up. Oh, hold up, what's going on? Texted him December. He gave me his number. I'll text him. I wonder where he lives now. Um, no, he lives in SF. Cool. Machine learning engineer at Meta. Probably does some very cool stuff. Man, I miss him. Him and his brother were hella nice, and his mom. His mom was awesome too. She deviante. Um, he always treated me really nice, very kindly actually. Mm. And I don't know why, but somehow me, Akil, and Adarsh were somehow. I think our moms were all friends, and so somehow, yeah, something like that. Adarsh is awesome too. I wonder how he is now. I want to talk to all those guys. Um, I'm no longer running away from the past. I need to, I have changed, but I need to now be held accountable, and I need to reconnect with that kind of version. But yeah, so Akil, they started it, and that was my first experience like one-on-one mentoring. And a lot of the moms were like, "You were awesome," or like that was the first time she's like, "Would you be interested in continuing this privately? We'll pay you 20 an hour." That was the first time. That was my sophomore year of high school. First time someone ever told me I was good at teaching, and not last. And um, yeah, and so I forgot. I don't even know that kid's name anymore. I did math with him, but I remember. Yeah, some people actually like left comments. I think his mom left a comment, and everyone was like really surprised because I was whatever. I wasn't the smartest kid there, but I think I did a good job teaching. And then yeah, I remember my mom would take on hella responsibility, and then so like you could kind of like put it off as like I did it, and like I remember she'd always be like, I don't want to do this anymore, but she took on hella work for it. I was like some position on. I want to see if I'm like again, like let me see if I'm even on the website. Yeah, the website. Um, and I think they had like all alumni. What is it? Shooting Stars Foundation. I would put them on the podcast too. Let's see. Yeah, they got a .org page now. I don't know what it takes to do that. Uh, we firmly believe that education is the only way to break the cycle of generational poverty, as they teach in the Bay Area. But I think now they're all over the country. Actually, they're big. It's taking a little long, but yeah. And so no, I can do both. I can multitask. And uh, so yeah. So then that was like a cool experience. I met Niveda, Davey. I think Aditi did it one time. Who else? Someone else did it. Someone else. Who was hella funny who did it? I think. Did Shivam do it? I think somebody did it. I forgot who did it. Someone. I think Chokesy did it. Chokesy did it. Chokesy did it. Chokesy did it. Um, that's a hella funny. Chokesy did it. That was their junior year. I think he did it. But yeah, so that was like kind of a thing that was like my extracurriculars are I did shooting stars. But like I just remember as a high school kid, I did hella extracurriculars. Like I mean, it's just wild to think about. Like, I mean, I don't know if I like put my best foot forward, but on Deca, I was like, what was that? I was a something. I like created a, uh, you know, fundraising thing with one of the restaurants, and then like a bunch of people came and we had made some $400 from that, like some burger something. And then I did student council. I was senator. Oh, sheesh, I was senator. Hey, let's go. Hey, I was a senator. Nice. Okay, so I was a senator. That's cool. And then um, I like won I got appointed on the other one. And then you know I was also just good at DECA. I did like tennis. I was on the varsity team. Like nothing I really put effort. I didn't put effort into any of these things, which I think is more of the problem than like, oh, if I just did one and put effort. I still did Carnatic singing. I like was on debate for like a little bit. I don't even that shouldn't even count. Let's try to be honest with ourselves. And in terms of like I did Boy Scouts, and then I did all this volunteering stuff like on the side. Um I volunteered a few of those years at the table tennis camp in high school. Yeah, I was in high school, I think, when I did a few of those. And then, yeah, I did the USC thing one year. I did Excel studying for SAT prep one year. What did I do senior year summer? That's a question to ask. Before I went to UCSD, I went to India. Yeah, that's when I met Azita. I went to India. Um, Damn, yeah. So I didn't do much my senior year summer. I was in India for most of it, almost all of it. And then I got back and I was back for like a week or two. And then freshman year, and then I went to India a couple times throughout there. Sophomore year, I think, as well. I don't remember, maybe freshman year. Yeah, and then we always did like Spirit Week. I mean, just like booked. I mean, honestly, booked. JSA one time does not count at all. So yeah, so it's just like full packed time. I mean, and I'm surprised, like even with all that, I found all the time to like mess around. I mean, imagine if I didn't do any of that. I mean, I'd have all day to just troll. College enrollment only 14, only 28%. It's like a big organization now. Wow. Let's see. About us, our team. Let's see. Let's see on this. There's like there's a good website. Wow. These guys have come up. When I was there, it was like some red website. It was like old. Are we on this? Wow. It's like, oh man, they have a whole team now. They have board members. What? Oh, it's like big. Lata Narayanan. Wow, this is huge. Damn, they hired a whole bunch of U.S. manager, program manager, Portland program, treasurer. They just hired a bunch of Chettiars. Let's see. How it all started. Ajit Chidambaram Narayanan, co-founder. When I was a 7th grader, bored over the spring break holidays, my mom insisted that I help my younger brother with his state test. I came up with sample questions and gave him a refresher just before the exams. After seeing how I helped my brother, I received interest from a few family friends. They'd even pay for it. After a couple of years, I was introduced to Akhil Gandhi, who in turn introduced us to a larger local community that helped us launch our nonprofit Shooting Stars Fund. The programs we offer to elementary school students locally started with the Common Core curriculum and public speaking. It is now expanded to a variety of unique STEM enrichment programs. With the funds raised, we sponsor college education in underdeveloped countries. But like, what is really like the motivation, you know? Like, I feel like the number of people who really care about like education in the sense of like, I mean, I'm saying for me as well, I don't even really know. Like, I mean, there's always an in for each individual. I mean, I think true kind of, I mean, all these people putting their time to it for free. Like, there's no way. Just for like the kindness of their heart. But yeah, so I guess we're not on it anymore. No, they don't have like old head. Do they have one for that? No, they don't. They used to. We're no longer on this. We're not. I mean, this is bougie now. They're not gonna put our bum ass pictures on there. You gave them probably some trash pictures. Um, but yeah, so Shooting Stars was a vibe. One moment I remember is me, Niveda, Devi, and Akil. We all went laser something. What's it called when you have a gun you shoot lasers at each other? Laser gun shooting. Laser. What is it called? Laser gun shooting. Laser gun. Laser tag. Laser tag. Um, and then I remember that. I had a huge crush on Niveda. Still do. But yeah, that was nice. That was fun. Yeah, I mean, all of these stories kind of start randomly. With Niveda, for example, I met her at preschool and I went to Scribbles with Dwayne, Aditi. So that's like a whole group on its own. Akil Ganti, we went to Forest Park together. Adarsh, I have so many stories with random small stories I remember with Adarsh. Small things, just. I remember this one time I was at Forest Park my senior year of high school, and Adarsh already had gone to UCSD, so at this point I knew I was going there, and I really wanted to like be friends with him, and so I was like, yo, like, I want to. I was like, so we were playing basketball at Forest Park, and I was like, okay, I have to play really good today so I can like be on his intramural team. And so like I tried hella hard. I remember I made a few shots for some reason, but my brain still remembers being like, damn, like you did a good job today. He might want you on his team. And then actually funny on that story, then our frats played each other, and I think our frat beat his frat, but I didn't play at all. I was the only one who didn't get any playing time. I was the only one who sat on the bench the whole game. And he came up to me after and he's like, why didn't you play? Now, I forgot. I said something about my knee or something like that. But I think my knee did hurt also. Oh, man. I busted my knee playing. Oh, my God. Yes. I had the worst pain on my right knee, I think. Just from, like, jumping or something. Yeah, I had terrible knee pain for the first, like, 2 years there. And then I remember I dislocated my left knee my junior year, summer. And then the pain went away and hasn't come back. But I remember that was terrible for a while. I could not play basketball with that knee pain, but I feel like it's much better now. But I busted my knee again. Remember playing, like at DC, I was playing, like when I was living in the tent. I went up for like a floater on my right knee, and I landed on it, and I like hurt my knee so bad that like I just could not walk. Like it was bad, and then it went away in like a week. That was scary. I remember being very scared. Like I remember that day, I had like gone to this restaurant, and I was like, yo, here's the thing. My knee's busted. It was like a bougie diner. It was like 10:30 at night. I was like, my knee's busted. Can I please place my leg on, like, I was in sandals at that point. And I was like, can I put my feet up and like ice it? I messed my knee up. And they were so sweet and kind. And they like got me a bunch of ice and stuff. And that helped a bit. But yeah, my knee was busted. That was bad. Yeah, wow. Cool. Yeah, it's like each story kind of just, has all these weird connections to like other stories, and then they're all like connected. With the Darsh, I like drove back with him my sophomore year before I got my bed for my junior year when we moved in, and Adarsh's girlfriend once caught me like cheating technically at Sigma Kappa's formal, and had like told AR, and I remember just being like a little upset about that. I was like, why would you tell? Instead of being upset at myself for just being shitty, which is kind of funny. But yeah, and then I'm just checking how much percent I have. 11%. And then I remember on that drive home we had talked about it, and at that point what I'm talking about was my freshman year. So this was a year later when me and Adarsh went, and I feel like my sophomore year was one of the biggest transformations I had from like this kind of fuck boy whatever to kind of somebody who was like, I don't know, committed to the relationship. I wanted to be better. I started doing better in school. I found love for math. I found, it was sophomore year was very transformational in my life. And what did I do sophomore year summer? I went to India. That was the year I went to India 1 month. I did like the lab work 1 month. That was the year I lived with that strange woman for 1 month, remember? Yeah, I lived with that strange woman for 1 month. Damn. That's when my dad helped me move in. We moved in that summer. So, wow, that was exciting, man. Moving into our first, like, kind of leased spot I didn't do anything for it. I think Dan and Elmer did all the work for it. I just moved into the house. I was like, this is lit. I'm excited to see Dan, I guess. It's been a long time. I miss Dan. But that's a whole thing. I'll go into what that means later. But, yeah, so on the drive home, I had told Adarsh had said something about the lines of, like, you've changed a lot. And I remember Krishna Mehta had said that, too, where he's like, you changed a lot from high school, and that was sophomore year. I hope they're proud of who I am today if they were to meet me. But yeah, both of those people, man. I mean, oh my, yeah. Adarsh and Krishna I played tennis with. So then that like brought up Kosh, and then I have a whole story with Kosh and kind of how our friendship was. For 4 years we were tennis partners. I mean 3 years. I mean I guess my senior year he wasn't my partner. What did I do my senior year? Did I even play tennis my senior year? I did. Did I just play singles? What the heck? What did I do my senior year? Did I play tennis or not? I must have played tennis, but did I have a partner? There's no way I played singles. I may have just not played tennis my senior year. I know I never played singles, so it's highly likely I didn't play tennis my senior year. Um, but I'm not sure. That was Steam telling me I have 10%. Thanks, Steam. But so Adarsha told me that stuff, which was really nice on that car ride. And I remember we just got close over the 8 hours. And I remember his parents had driven in front of us or something, and we stopped somewhere, he introduced me to some like Taco Bell like type of like cheese sandwich or something, or cheese something quesadilla. I remember it being so good. I just remember it being fun being with his parents. His dad's awesome too. Yeah, that was a vibe, man. Very different time. Wow. Yeah, that was cool. And then I played tennis with all those guys. I was a little mean to Kosh, I think. I feel like I wasn't very like a nice teammate. A little more kind of like angry. Wouldn't take the responsibility on myself. Like I liked winning, but I didn't like working hard. And I feel like that's the recipe for just sore losers. Um, but yeah, 4 years of tennis was fun. What does your gut say to continue now? I don't think so. It is. But I'm just like, oh my god, I'm too excited. I could keep going. Should I just go in the flow state and keep going? But what about lunch? All these kind of stories just all align with each other. Like some like trickle down to further stories and some just phase off. Like for example, that USC story I said with that girl, just I mean after that it was done. I mean there's no kind of nothing else traversed from that. But let's see, did any story kind of travel from USC? Not really. The USC kind of era just ended. I mean, oh no, oh Blaze Elliott. Oh shit, that's his name, Blaze Elliott. Oh my god, that was a guy who was ah, I found him. David Blaze Elliott. I found him. I found him. I found him. Oh my god. He ran across my mind after all of these years. I hope you are doing so well. Um, wow. Yeah, that's awesome. Let me send that to him. Bet. Awesome, man. Cognitive neuroscience PhD student at Northwestern University. Good for him. You know who the other girl is? Let me see if I can find her. Michelle. I have no idea where she went to school. I don't even know what she studied. I don't know nothing. Michelle something though. It was like Michelle. All I know is she was like Michelle Abercrombie model. But that was like years ago. I mean, so long. Michelle, unless you went to USC. And there's no way I'll find a random girl named Michelle went to USC. This is an L. Yeah, this is she's lost into the ether. She's definitely gone. Um, but yeah, so that's cool. I'm glad I remembered Blaze. But I think he like stopped liking to be called Blaze and wanted to be called David, but it just came into my mind. He was awesome. He's the one who put me on Boondocks, and I love that show for those like 3. And then I watch hella SVU too, I think. Eating like my like Mundri Parpu, I think. Yeah. And my Smarties and just I had a roommate who was this big ass white dude, but like big curly art major white dude. And I don't know if we were ever close. I think I masturbated a lot less then. I don't remember that being something that I was so like focused on. I feel like I only really became aware my sophomore year of college. That's when I was like, I want to start cutting down. And that's when it began. The journey. It's embarrassing to say it's been 6 years. And there's been slight progress. But there's been infinite amount of like wisdom about myself that's been learned through that process. But in terms of like progress, decent, but not a lot. Decent, good amount, I think. A good amount, actually a lot in many ways. I mean, I have to honestly admit, like all my nudes, everything, I'm proud of myself. One thing I'm like pretty proud of myself is like I have none, and everything anyone has ever sent me, I've deleted and I don't have it all anymore. Like I can very proudly like of that fact. I don't know. Look at myself in the mirror and be like, good job. I'm proud of you for that. None of it exists. And I feel like I've done right by the people who have trusted me with any of that stuff. But it's raining. I love the sound of rain here. It's like very like pleasing. Yeah. Okay. I think my guts just gave me a whole bunch of like good energy feeling, and I'm glad I was able to kind of share this. And when I get to Bangalore, I'll put it out privately, send it to Mylan. I feel like this was a cool little random, in the beginning I was like, I don't know what I'm going to talk about, but I feel like it turned out to be a just cool trip down memory lane. And I want to do more of these. We covered USC, we covered Shooting Stars, we covered 2 random experiences in my life that I feel like were pretty profound to me. And so, yeah, I love you. I love you a lot. Thanks for just living, and thanks for, I don't know, trying every day. Life is scary, and I know I'm just proud of you for, look at yourself in the freaking eye. It's hard because like in a mirror you can like look in your eyes. Here, if I look at the camera, then I'm not looking at myself. I look at myself, my eyes on this is a little lower. So is there like a perfect, how can we do this? What if I did this? Yeah, this is a little better. There it is. But I'm proud of you. Thanks for... It has to be as close to the thing as possible. What if I go back? But I think it's the internal brain knowing you're not actually looking at yourself. Even the slightest difference, there's still a difference. You're not looking deep into your soul, but whatever. I should do this in the mirror. But I've heard talking to yourself in the mirror is a vibe. I want to try that. But yeah, I'm proud of you. Stop looking away. Look at yourself and tell yourself that. I am proud of you. Good job. Keep doing the best that you can. Don't look away. Look at yourself in your face. I'm proud of you for just trying the best that you can and confronting the fact that you made mistakes and that you're an imperfect being, but you try every day to make amends and be a better person. And sometimes that path is not going to be so linear, but you don't give up. And I'm really proud of you for that. And I love you. And I'm going to be really sad when you die one day and we can no longer have these conversations with ourselves. And just, the way you're able to like talk to yourself in your brain and think through all the things in your life, I'm going to miss that a lot. I don't know who's talking to who. I don't know which conscious is talking to which person. But all I know is yeah, I guess maybe like if I was to like watch this, it'd be like, you sound crazy talking to yourself. But maybe that's okay. Mm, yeah. Sometimes you just have to hear yourself say it. I'm very proud of you, and I love you.